And I did want to graduate and, no jobs and everything, and then just, be legal immigrant because I didn't have the right documents. So what I decided to do, in fact, actually, I was looking around and trying to see what other international students were doing. Because all of us are in the same boat. Okay, international students with student visas who need jobs to stay in the US. So, I was looking around and I realized a lot of Asian students, they were graduating and they were actually getting good jobs. Okay, mostly Indians. Okay? So, I was like, what are they doing? So I reached out to a few of them. They used to be buddies, yeah? And that's why even when the professor was here, I was saying like, you need to network, especially when you're in school, yeah? So I had made friends with some of these Indian students. So I asked them, how come you guys are making, I'm hearing so-and-so graduated, they have a job, working as a business analyst with Yahoo, Google, or, these big companies. They told me, hey Bob, you know what? If you really want to live and work in this country, and if you want a job that will sponsor you, because for you to actually live and work in the US, when you go there as a student, you have to find an employer who is willing to sponsor you for you to live there and work long term. So they told me, you know what? You have to be trained on job skills. I was like, what? Job skills? Yeah, that's the only way that you can be able to get a good job. And not just any job skills, man. IT consulting skills. Please listen and listen carefully, yeah? Because this applies to everybody, all the students who are here. They told me, you have to be trained on IT consulting skills. So I was like, man, I'm not in, IT was never my thing. In Kenya, I used to be, I was basically an accountant, okay? I had a Bachelor of Commerce degree in accounting finance. In fact, actually, I had done some ACCAs. Who knows ACCAs? ACCAs are like CPAs, yeah? But they are administered by somebody in the UK. So I had done that up to part 2. And I know most undergraduate students, before you graduate, you're starting thinking of doing CPAs, up to CPAK, ACCAs, some other courses, finance and all that stuff. So I had done all those things. And I used to work in a bank, as a bank clerk. So, I was thinking I'll become an accountant. But they told me, you have to be in the IT industry. So I was like, man, I don't know how to code. IT was never my thing. In fact, actually, even for my undergraduate, when some of the programming classes that we did, I scored C's. Okay, so I never thought I would become someone who is like an IT guru. So I was like, now how do I do this IT thing? And yet, I don't have any IT background. So they told me, actually, you can be trained on so many systems out there. You just need to choose which one you want. And you don't actually have to be someone who knows how to program.
You're watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, presented to you by Appstech America. Appstech America is a consulting company that helps immigrants find amazing higher education and job opportunities in the tech industry in the United States. You can find our programs by going to www.appstechamerica.com. Appstech America will wake you up to the unlimited potential within you.
So I started looking around and I was introduced to one system called Oracle. Anyone who knows Oracle? So Oracle, I was introduced to Oracle Financials. So Oracle Financials is a system, it's an ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning tool that companies use. Like for example, these big multinational companies, like for example, Safaricom, APSA, KCB, all these big firms, they usually don't do their transactions, or they don't record their transactions maybe in an Excel, whatever file and stuff like that. They use these kind of systems. Okay, when they make a sale, when they incur expenses and all that stuff, they use those kind of systems. So Oracle is one of them. There's Oracle, there's SAP, there's Microsoft Dynamics, there's a lot of systems out there, okay? There's QuickBooks and all that. Now, some of the biggest complex systems that companies use, financial systems that companies use, is Oracle. So I was trained, I got training as an Oracle systems analyst. That training, I did it for 5 months, somewhere in Chicago. So I went for that training, and that training, I completed it in December of 2011. And once I finished that training, I was able to get a job in January 2012 as an Oracle systems analyst. Okay, so I was trained to be that person who configures and sets up the Oracle system from the front end without necessarily doing any programming work. Okay, remember, me, I didn't know about any programming, right? So this is actually, it's basically, instead of you being the accountant, like the way I wanted to become an accountant, it's basically you being behind the scenes and being the person who sets up that Oracle system that accountants use, okay, for them now to use it. For them now to record those transactions on a day-to-day basis, enter invoices, run financial reports, P&Ls, banks, balance sheets and stuff like that. So instead of you being the person who is actually doing the transactions, entering, invoices and all that, running reports and doing reconciliations at the end of the month, I was trained to be that person now who makes that system work for accountants. That's something that I never thought of before. In college, when I was doing my BCom, we were being trained on, I don't know which system you are being trained, but you are basically being trained to be the persons who use those kind of systems. There's no training where you are being trained to be that person who is setting up that system for accountants to use.
You've been watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, brought to you by Upstack America. Come back next time to hear more steps and missteps that I took on the path to becoming a successful immigrant in USA. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn.